Hey everyone, and welcome back to Dallas Cowboys coverage after a very rough and troubling loss to the Commanders in Week 18. I'm going to break it all down and all of its playoff impact and everything going into the postseason. So let's dive right into it. And it's not good. The Cowboys sort of ended their season the same way they started it, I would say. Really just looked completely out of character, out of sorts, just laid an egg. It was just a bad game. I don't know how else to describe it. Like I said, if you look back at the week one video, it's just bad, just terrible. Luckily, no one really got hurt in this one. That's what made week one extra terrible. But it was bad. I mean, you're going up against a third string in Sam Howell. This is the Washington Commanders, who just really, I mean, have been solid, better this year, but a team you should definitely be able to beat. I had friends of mine asking if we rested starters, and I really wanted to say yes, but I couldn't because this was your first team offense. This was your first team everything. Going out there and just completely struggling. Really just a disappointing performance and troubling. As I said in these couple videos ago, I wanted these last 2 weeks to be get it right games. Both going up against third string quarterbacks on struggling teams, and I wanted this to be a chance to get everything right, to fix all the little issues you've had and go into the playoffs confident and on a hot streak. And the Cowboys have done exactly the opposite of that. I mean, you're going up against completely inferior teams. Again, third string quarterbacks, Joshua Dobbs and Sam Howell. And you got the win in Tennessee. I think that one maybe was a bit overly criticized, but still not your best game. And now here you struggle to even score. You scored 6 points. I mean, one touchdown and nothing else. You went 3 and out 10 times. The offense was absolutely atrocious. It struggled to even snap the ball, it felt. It was just such a terrible game. Dak Prescott, more interceptions. I mean, just he I mean, I can't put it all on him, but the interceptions have continued to be an issue. And I mean, if this continues to happen in the playoffs, you're just putting yourself more and more behind. I'm not faulting all the games on this loss on the one interception, but the offense just couldn't do anything. The run game wasn't there. The offensive line, I'd give credit to them most of the season, has really struggled in run blocking lately. Tony Pollard and Zeke have been doing awesome, but for the last sort of month, they just have been non-existent. It feels like every time, and I don't even put it on them, it just feels like as soon as the ball's snapped and they're stuffed at the line of scrimmage. I blame also Kellen Moore in the play calling because it looks like it's straight from Madden. Just the halfback dive over and over and over again continues to be stuffed up the middle, and it's just frustrating because you have Pollard, one of your most dynamic, probably maybe the fastest player on your offense, and then you run him up the middle like this. Zeke, not as explosive as he once was, but still a very capable running back. And just force feeding them up the middle into nose tackles, it just has continued not to work. And I don't understand the play calling and the thought behind continuing to do the same things that just don't work. In the passing game, too, the curls, the just not getting it into your playmakers' hands, it's continued to be insanity, doing the same thing and expecting a different result. And Kellen Moore, man, he got a little bit of news. He got a head coach interview request from the Panthers, and I think the majority of fans are saying, take him. And let me know, how do you feel about Kellen Moore, and do you want him on this team next year, whether he's signed by someone else or just straight up let go? How do you feel about Kellen Moore? Would you rather keep him or cut him? And let me know in the comments. But for me, I think it's time to move on. It feels like we're just stuck in this continued Linehan, Garrett, now Kellen Moore offense of the same thing, predictable. Everyone knows what we're doing, including, I mean, as a fan, knowing exactly what's going to come next. It's You think teams don't understand that? Professional NFL teams? And the one thing that really got me was when Dak threw the route to the right, and it was nearly an interception. It was bounced off the hands of the cornerback. And then you go back and do the exact same play, exact same throw again. Like, my bad, you missed it the first time. Here, have it again. And it's a pick six. What are you expecting to happen? And it's just frustrating. I mean, it also feels like the ball's kind of getting forced to Noah Brown instead of CeeDee Lamb when Noah Brown has really been struggling as of late with drops. And there's another one where, I mean, the cornerback just undercuts him. I mean, he saw the exact same play literally one play earlier. What do you expect? And it's a real concern for me. The play calling, it's just illogical at this point. I mean, it's like, is there any situational awareness? Do you know what you're doing out there? And it's really frustrating. I blame Kellen Moore. I blame Mike McCarthy also just for not, stepping in. It feels like I give him credit for really hanging in there this year as a head coach, but to me, you just gotta have a little more of an impact. It feels like he's just sort of sitting there and letting Kellen Moore do his thing. I mean, to me, you gotta be involved. Even if you're not calling the plays yourself, you gotta be involved with the offense and saying, hey, maybe let's change it up. Let's get the ball in CeeDee Lamb's hand. Get the ball to Pollard on the outside. I mean, come on, common sense at this point. And it's just really been frustrating, and it was on full display. The offense was absolutely atrocious against the Commanders, and it continues to be this theme for me. If you can get, I know I've said this a lot if you watch my videos, but if you can get offense, defense, and special teams to all work in one game, all play to their potential, you're unstoppable. We saw it against the Vikings, but it's happened way too few and far between this season. Last week, you had the defense. Awesome. They did their job, absolutely. They stepped up. The offense, nope. And special teams, nope. Special teams has kind of been the one we can count on to be consistent, but even they had issues in every facet on Sunday. And it's just, it was a disaster, really. And that's what it's going to take. It's going to take each component doing their job. And for some reason, it just has not happened. It feels when the offense is on fire, the defense struggles. When the defense is dominant, the offense can't do anything. And then when they're both good, special teams does something wrong. It's like, why can't we have consistency ever here in Dallas? And that's been the issue all year, all season long. And that's going to be the key piece really going into the playoffs. If you can be consistent, you can go as far as you want, really. I mean, you're in a struggling NFC, you only have a few top teams to worry about. But if you go out and play like this, it looks like you don't even deserve to be there. So my expectations are just, I don't even know anymore. This season's been a roller coaster. I'm happy that we're here, especially after week 1. I thought this season was over. But I'm preparing to be disappointed once again because we had 2 easy get-right games and we couldn't even win those. We couldn't even be competitive in the second one. I mean, I know we won the Titans game, but we just did not play like a playoff team. We certainly did not play like a Super Bowl contender. And unless something drastically changes, turns around here, I'm very concerned. It's, I've said it all year. We need to find consistency, and that has just not happened at all this year. I struggled to find a player of the game for last week. I'll tell you, it was a little bit rough. I settled for Malik Hooker. He had a good game. And I don't want to take anything away from the defense. I want to talk about them real quick because they did play well. Parsons had half a sack. Odigizuwa played really well, maybe his best game of the season. 7 tackles, I think, a sack as well. You had players playing well on defense. I don't fault them at all. They really did their job all the way around. But they couldn't make up for the absolute handicap the offense put and the suicide that the special teams put out there. I mean, it was terrible. Brett Maher even missed a kick. I mean, an extra point. Never happened all year. Anger, who's Pro Bowl punter, drops the ball, and Turpin muffs another punt off his face mask. It was disastrous. It felt like a curse at FedEx Field or something. I mean, just everything that could go wrong went wrong on Sunday. And a lot of it was fluky things, like all those special teams issues. I don't really buy into there being a problem there, just bad. But the offense, that I am concerned about just because of the crucial play calling. But I'm not concerned so much about scoring points because this offense has been number 1 in the league since Dak came back. That hasn't been the problem. For the past month, the defense has been the problem, especially the secondary. The offense has been putting up 40 points, but there's been defensive concerns, and then it flip-flops. The offense is horrible, and the defense is dominant again. I don't understand. I don't understand why they can't be good at the same time. And if they can't figure it out, then we're in trouble. If they can, we might be one of the best teams in the NFC. It's just, I don't know where we're at. I don't think anyone does. I mean, last week, all I was concerned about was the play calling offensively. And I mean, maybe the running game. But now it's like everything. And then I don't even know. I don't know. It's hard to even predict what's going to happen against now the Buccaneers, because who's going to show up? Which team's going to show up? Which units are going to show up? This team's been the model of inconsistency, and that is very concerning going into a playoff game on the road, which hate to sound grim here, but you have not won a playoff game on the road since, I believe, 1994. And Tampa Bay, the Bucs, and Tom Brady, who you have never beat in Tom Brady's career. You have never beat Tom Brady. He's undefeated against the Cowboys. So things are not looking great based on history standpoint. But at the same time, you are playing the worst team in the playoffs across all the playoffs. So, I mean, out of the 14 teams in the playoffs, both NFC and AFC, you are playing the one with a losing record and just simply the worst team. And to me, I mean, yes, they have Tom Brady, and that's the difference. Tom Brady in the playoffs is not someone I want to see. But at the same time, you got to look yourself in the mirror. You got to look at them and not underestimate them, not doubt them, because they have Tom Brady, but simply acknowledge the fact that you are playing the worst team in this playoffs. And we are extremely concerned, and that in itself is terrifying, that we're scared of a team that went 8-9 in the regular season. And I mean, at some point you got to look at yourself and say, do we deserve to be here or not? And if you can't beat the 8-9 Buccaneers, then you do not deserve to be fighting for a Super Bowl. You don't deserve to be in the playoffs if you can't beat the worst team. I know that you have to go to Tampa Bay, and I know that that's unfair in my opinion. I think that needs to be changed, how they do that. But simply, you are playing a team with a losing record, and if you can't beat them, then, man, major changes. I mean, something's got to give. To me, this going into the season, everyone's saying conference championship or bust. And now we are genuinely concerned if we can beat a team with a losing record on Wild Card Weekend. That's a concern for me. Just, I mean, the fact that we should be happy about this in theory, right? And again, Tom Brady's the X factor. He's the thing that makes this different than just your regular 8-9 team. But the Bucs have been struggling this year, and if you cannot go out and beat a team that, as Tom Brady as they are, they're 8-9, and they've struggled all year. If you can't go out and beat them, then what was this season? I mean, it feels just like another waste, a first round exit year. I can't, that can't be acceptable to me. I mean, this is an opportunity this year. The NFC is much weaker than it's been in a long time. And if you can't go out and beat the Bucs, then simply it's a disappointment, and there's no other way to put it. And it's going to be, can this team be consistent? Can this team go out and just get it done when it needs to be done? There's nothing else to it. This isn't something you need to pull off. This is a game you should win. And we are all very concerned about it for good reason. But if this team wants to prove itself, wants to show that they're a competitor and that they're just not another Cowboys year, classic Cowboys, go out and win this game. Beat Tom Brady. Beat a team that you are favored against, that you should be winning against. Get it done. And that's all it is. It's get it done. This team just needs to get it done. I mean, there's not a whole lot else left to say, because I don't know which team's going to show up. I don't know who's going to struggle. I don't know what it's going to be. You just got to go out and win this game. No more excuses. It's just got to happen. So, that's my little mini rant on that. But I do want to break down the playoffs, just sort of the Cowboys' path, or at least most likely path to get to the Super Bowl. It's most likely going to be, you got to win. Obviously, you got to win this game against the Buccaneers. And then after that, you're most likely, if you win, going to take on the number 1 seeded Eagles in Philadelphia. So A tough game there. Obviously, you won in Philly a couple weeks ago. That was with Gardner Minshew, though. A much different team for the Eagles, so that's tough. And even if you get past them, you're most likely going to play the 49ers in the conference championship in Santa Clara. You're unlikely to get a home game all postseason, and you have some tough matchups. Brady and the Bucs, Hurts and the Eagles, and then Brock Purdy and the 49ers defense, really. It's a tough road. This conference is weaker than it's been, but you have three tough opponents in your way before you can even get to the Super Bowl, and then who knows what AFC team you'll be facing. It's a tough road. And I wish that this Cowboys team had some more confidence. I wish that they were on a better streak, really. I wish they were kind of getting it together at this point in the season instead of struggling against third-string quarterbacks. That would give me a lot more confidence going in. Because I believe at full capacity, at full force, this Cowboys team can compete against all three of these NFC teams. I believe that they can win against them if they're playing in Vikings form. But if they're playing in Commanders form, I have no expectations. So I'm not even going to make predictions. I'm not even going to do any of that. I'm just going to lay it out there. Let me know how far you think the Cowboys are going to get. Wild card, divisional, conference championship. Where do you think the road ends for us? Super Bowl? I hope so. And according to the Cowboys' pattern of loss, 4 wins, loss, 2 wins, loss, 4 wins, loss, and all that, lost 2 wins and lost, something like that. And based on that pattern, the next up is 4 wins in a row, and that would mean a Super Bowl win. So there's hope, right? We never know. But let me hear your predictions. Comment down below. How far do you think this Cowboys team makes it in the playoffs? And then for me, it's just I don't know. I really don't. Like I said, I'm not going to predict it. I'm just going to sit back and hope for the best because this team has it in them. I know it's in there. The question is it going to come out? Is Parsons going to be the dominant player we've seen? Can Pollard and Zeke run the way they have been all season? Can Dak have a game that we know he's capable of? Can he stop the interceptions? Can Diggs come up big? Can Maher and the special teams unit be consistent like they've been all year long? You have so many great players on this team, so many really big factors. But it's just going to be, can they show up? Can this team show up? Can each unit show up? And if they can, this team, sky's the limit. If they can't, then you're in for a tough road. So we'll see. But I'm going to hope for the best and hope this Cowboys team can do what we know they're capable of. And we'll see. Playoffs start this weekend. So before I finish, I just want to talk about some injuries. You are getting some much-needed reinforcements, especially on the defensive side. Leighton, Vander, and Johnathan Hankins are expected to be returning after a couple weeks' absence for the wild card game. Those are 2 key pieces, especially in run stopping, that you'll be getting back. And offensively, you should be getting back Matt Farniok as your offensive line depth, maybe jumbo fullback option. He's really nice to have back. He made a good impact earlier in this season. Definitely just feel a lot better about the offensive line with him there. And, just God forbid you have injury issues. And on top of that, Tyler Biadasz, after a high ankle sprain sort of issue, is actually been practicing and is expected to at least have a chance to play. As at this point, it does look like he will be able to play Monday night. So I think he's probably in the most question for his status, but at this point, it looks like he's going to be able to go. So really good news, getting really everyone back healthy that isn't already out for the season. And one more thing is Xavier Rhodes. He was signed to the practice squad last week, and sort of the expectations for him were kind of mixed. Not really sure if he would make an impact, but he's really impressed. Dan Quinn talked about how good he's looked in practice, and he has a real chance to be elevated for the game as well. And to me, I think he could be your cornerback too. I know he's not prime Xavier Rhodes, but Nashawn Wright, Kelvin Joseph, Trayvon Mullen have not worked out in the slightest. So to me, Xavier Rhodes, he's the biggest name for sure, but I think that he really has a chance to be your second best cornerback right now. And if he can bring some consistency to the secondary, if he can just sort of not be a lockdown guy that he used to be, but just kind of be serviceable, really, because the number 2 cornerback position has been anything but that since Anthony Brown got hurt. I mean, he had his own struggles, but we've seen how much we miss him now. If Xavier Rhodes can come in and kind of play that role, just kind of help us in the playoffs, that is huge for me. I know he's not prime Xavier Rhodes, but to me, he's better than what we have. So if he can just bring a little bit of consistency, I think that's a huge pickup for you. And that's really, he's going to be a key aspect going into this playoffs. I think if he can really perform the way we hope he can, I think he's going to be one of your most important players, especially on the defensive side. So we'll see about him for sure. And some other notes, the All-Pro teams were announced recently. So the first is the NFLPA. That's their the one voted by the players. That's actually the first year they've done this. So their inaugural selections were Kevontae Turpin and Zack Martin were both selected to the NFLPA first team All-Pro. So that's, nice for them. And then for the official one, the Associated Press All-Pro teams, first team was Micah Parsons and Zack Martin, and second team CeeDee Lamb. So that's his first All-Pro selection. Congrats to them. Really for a great year. It's been a good year for a lot of players. It's like we talked about the inconsistencies, but CeeDee Lamb has been absolutely amazing this year. Micah Parsons has been incredible. And it's just going to be a matter of if they can be the ones to make an impact. If you can get the ball in CeeDee Lamb's hand, in Tony Pollard's hand, if Zack Martin and the offensive line can live up to their potential, you have a ton of Pro Bowlers. You have a ton of excellent players on this team. Trayvon Diggs, Kevontae Turpin, Brett Maher, I would even argue, should have been in this conversation. He's had a great year. Dak Prescott even. You have so much talent on this team, more than a lot of teams have. And it's just, like I said, it's going to be consistency. Can the right team show up? Can all the units show up? I know I've said that multiple times, even in this video and throughout the season. Which team's going to show up? You have the talent. We know that. It's been on display this year. And I keep pointing to the Vikings game as that was everything going right. That was all 3 offense, defense, and special teams showing up. And you dominated one of the best teams in the league, one of the top NFC competitors in this playoffs. And you blew them out of the water. They scored, 3 points? I think you scored 40-something. I don't remember the exact score, but it was dominant. The fourth quarter against the Colts, you blew them away. We've seen what this team can do when they're at full power. But unfortunately, we haven't seen that full power in quite a few weeks, quite a few months now. And we've seen bits and pieces. We've seen potential. And we've seen it on full display now against the Vikings. We know it's possible. We know they're capable. We know it's in them. They have it, but it's going to be, can it come out? Can they show up? You're going to have 3 tough road games on the road to the Super Bowl, and it starts in Tampa Bay against Tom Brady. To me, you can't look anywhere beyond that. As much as this should be a win, you just got to be focused. You got to get it done. Everything's got to go right. And I don't think, for this playoffs at least, but you just got to show up. I'm not saying you need an absolutely flawless game to beat the Buccaneers because they have been anything but flawless. But you just got to show up. Your offense has got to play like that. We know they can. The defense has got to play dominant. The special teams unit's got to be able to just be consistent like they've been all year. And then you can win this game. But, these questions still remain. So thanks again for watching. Feel free to like the video if you enjoyed. Subscribe for playoff content. I hope I'm going to be able to make a lot of playoff videos. I really, truly hope it's not just one. So, again, let me know how far you think this team's going to go. I know they have potential, and I'm hoping for the best. So, thanks again for watching. I will see you guys next time. I just want to make sure I'm not forgetting anything. If I did, I'll put it in the description below. Along with the rest of the playoff picture, I'll say that real quick. The Eagles are number 1, 49ers number 2, Vikings are 3rd, Bucs 4th, and then the Cowboys are the 5th seed, Giants 6th, and Seahawks snuck in at the 7th seed. So all the playoff scenarios, we'll see about that, but I'll put it in the description, the seeds, that way you can see that. And there's a lot of scenarios. There's a lot that can happen in these playoffs, but it all starts with the win on Monday night. I want to make that clear too. The Cowboys and Bucs are Monday night on ESPN. So MLK Day showdown for the Cowboys. It's all on the line. This is their time to prove it. This is their time to get it done, and I sure hope that the right Cowboys team can show up. If they can beat these Bucs. So thanks again for watching. I will see you guys next time, and let's just hope for the best. Hope for a win. Cowboys, Bucs. I hope they can get it done. So thanks again for watching, and go Cowboys.